The blame game has officially begun, and if the rumours coming out of Montecito this week are even half true, we are looking at the absolute collapse of the House of Sussex. It is February 10th, 2026, and the headlines are burning up with reports that Meghan is in meltdown mode. But this time, she isn't just fighting the press, she is fighting a war inside her own home. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We have a lot to cover today because the floodgates have opened. For months, we have heard whispers, little murmurs here and there about trouble in paradise, but what is happening right now is a full-blown crisis. We are talking about the kind of chaos that ends marriages and destroys brands. The tabloids, including the List and Radar online, are reporting that Meghan is spiralling, and the reason is something we have suspected for a long time, but never seen on this scale: a mass exodus of their most important staff. We need to talk about what it means when your entire support system walks out on you. We aren't talking about a housekeeper or a junior assistant this time. We are talking about the heavy hitters. James Holt, the executive director of the Archewell Foundation, has reportedly packed his bags. This is the man who was supposed to be the steady hand, the one guiding their philanthropic ship through the storm. If James Holt is leaving, it means the ship is sinking, and he isn't alone. Meredith Maines, their chief publicist, the woman responsible for spinning their image, for making them look like global humanitarians, has also reportedly quit. Just think about that for a second. Meghan lives and dies by her public image. She is obsessed with how she is perceived. So for her head of PR to walk away in the middle of a crisis, that is not just a resignation, that is a statement. It screams that the situation is unmanageable, that the client is impossible, and that no amount of money is worth the stress of trying to sell a product that the public just isn't buying anymore. This brings us to the ugly truth of why they are leaving. For years, we heard the term Duchess difficult. Remember that? It started back in Kensington Palace. We were told it was just a smear campaign, that it was the British press being mean, that it was racism or sexism. But where there is smoke, there is fire, and right now Montecito is an inferno. The nickname has evolved. It is no longer just Duchess difficult. The new narrative that is bubbling up from these frustrated, exhausted former employees is so much worse. They are calling her the dictator in high heels. It paints quite a picture, doesn't it? You can almost hear the clicking of those expensive heels on the marble floors, the sound that apparently sends shivers down the spines of the staff. We are hearing stories that are frankly disturbing. We are told that this dictator doesn't just demand perfection, she demands submission. Sources are claiming that she rules through fear, belittling people, snapping at them, and creating an environment so toxic that grown men, seasoned professionals who have worked in high-pressure jobs their whole lives, are being reduced to tears. Can you imagine? You go to work for a charity, for a foundation that claims to be about compassion in action, and you end up crying at your desk because your boss has dressed you down like a naughty schoolchild. It is the ultimate hypocrisy. You cannot preach kindness to the world and then terrorize the people who work for you. It just doesn't wash. And people are finally waking up to it. The reports of adult men crying are particularly damaging because it breaks the illusion of her being this soft, maternal, nurturing figure. It suggests a cruelty, a lack of empathy that is chilling. We have heard about the 5 a.m. emails, the constant demands, the refusal to listen to advice. But this dictator in high heels persona suggests someone who enjoys the power, someone who likes to make people feel small. And when you treat people like they are disposable, eventually they dispose of you, they leave, And that is exactly what is happening. The revolving door at Archewell is spinning so fast it is about to come off its hinges. But here is the twist, and this is where the meltdown comes in. A normal person, seeing their staff flee, might stop and think, is it me? Am I doing something wrong? But according to insiders, self-reflection is not on the menu in Montecito. Meghan is reportedly absolutely furious. She isn't sad, she is mad. She is in a state of total meltdown, but it is a meltdown of victimhood. She is screaming that she is being abandoned. She is paranoid that there is a conspiracy against her. She reportedly believes that these people were planted to fail, or that the media has bribed them to leave, or that, and this is the big one, Harry didn't do enough to keep them. This is where the blame game starts to bleed into the marriage. Instead of looking in the mirror, Meghan is looking for a scapegoat, and the easiest target is the man sitting next to her. She is reportedly blaming Harry for the staff turnover. She claims he isn't strong enough to manage the team, that he let them get away with mediocrity, that he should have handled it. It is classic deflection. If the business fails, it's Harry's fault. If the staff leaves, it's Harry's fault. If the public turns on them, it's Harry's fault. She is painting herself as the brilliant visionary who is being let down by everyone around her, including her husband. Insiders describe the atmosphere in that house right now as suffocating. Imagine living in a place where you are walking on eggshells 24/7. The air is thick with tension. Staff members are terrified to speak, terrified to make eye contact, terrified to deliver bad news. It has become a bunker. They are holed up in there, convinced the world is out to get them, while the reality is that they are their own worst enemies. The humanitarian mission has become a joke inside the industry. People in Hollywood talk. They talk at dinner parties, they talk at lunch, and the word on the street is, do not work for the Sussexes. It is a career killer. You will be overworked, underappreciated, and eventually you will be blamed for their failures. This meltdown Meghan is experiencing is likely fueled by a loss of control. Control is everything to her. She needs to control the narrative, the photos, the perception. When staff members leave, especially high-ranking ones like James Holt and Meredith Maines, she loses that control. These people know where the bodies are buried, they know the secrets, they know what really happens behind closed doors when the cameras are off. And that terrifies her. Every person who walks out that door is a potential leak. Every resignation is a crack in the facade. And right now, the cracks are turning into canyons. You have to wonder what goes through her mind when she sees these headlines. Does she see the irony? She talks about uplifting women, yet female staff are fleeing. She talks about mental health, yet she is allegedly driving her employees to nervous breakdowns. It is this disconnect that is so infuriating for the public. We can see through it. We can see that the emperor has no clothes, or in this case the duchess has no compassion. The dictator in high heels narrative is going to stick because it fits everything we have seen. The way she pushes in front of Harry, the way she interrupts, the way she stares down interviewers. It all points to someone who demands total dominance. And poor Harry. We will get to him more in the next part, but you have to imagine him watching this. He grew up in a palace where staff were treated with a certain level of respect because they were essential to the operation. He knows that you don't burn through private secretaries and communication directors like this. He knows this isn't normal. But he seems paralyzed. He is watching the love of his life destroy their professional reputation, and he seems unable or unwilling to stop it. Is he afraid of her? Is he afraid of the meltdown being directed at him? It certainly looks that way. The departure of James Holt is really the final straw. He was a true believer. He drank the Kool-Aid. For him to walk away suggests that the situation is irredeemable. It suggests that there is no plan, no strategy, just chaos and ego. And investors see this, Netflix sees this, Spotify saw this. You cannot run a business on vibes and word salad. You need execution. And you cannot execute a strategy if you fire everyone who tries to do the work. The Archewell brand is becoming synonymous with failure, and that is hitting Meghan where it hurts the most, her ego and her wallet. So, as we watch the dust settle on this latest round of resignations, the question is, who is left? Who is actually running the show? It seems it is just Meghan, shouting orders into an empty room, wondering why the world isn't bowing down. The isolation is real. They have isolated themselves from his family, from their old friends, and now from their own employees. They are on an island of their own making, and the water is rising. But the professional collapse is only half the story. The stress of this failure, the humiliation of the dictator headlines, the financial pressure of the failed deals, it is all acting like a pressure cooker on their marriage. If you think the way she treats her staff is bad, wait until you hear what insiders are saying about how she is treating Harry. The blame game isn't just about business, it is about their life together. It is about resentment. It is about a woman who feels she was promised a kingdom and ended up with a podcast that was cancelled, and she needs someone to pay for that disappointment. We are going to dive deep into the personal side of this disaster in the next part. We are going to talk about the rumours of separate lives, the financial panic, and why Harry is looking more and more like a man who wants to escape. The dictator in high heels might be terrifying to her staff, but she might be even more terrifying to her husband. Stay tuned, because the tea is only going to get hotter. You do not want to miss what is happening behind the bedroom doors of the Olive Garden mansion. It is a tragedy. It is a farce. And it is the story of the year. If you thought the staff exodus we just discussed was the only fire burning in Montecito, you need to look closer at the house itself. Because once the assistants and the PR managers drive away, once the heavy gates swing shut, it is just Harry and Meghan left in that sprawling, silent mansion. And according to every whisper coming out of California right now, the silence between them is heavier than the humid air. We have moved past the professional crisis, and we are now staring directly into the heart of a personal catastrophe. This is part 2 of our deep dive, the blame game. And let me tell you, nobody plays this game quite like Meghan Markle. When money is tight, marriages get tested. It is a universal truth, whether you are living in a 2-bedroom apartment or a 16-bathroom estate. And right now, the financial reality for the Sussexes is looking grim, bordering on disastrous. We were promised a billion-dollar brand. Do you remember the hype, the endless press releases about how they were going to change the world of entertainment? We were told they would be the new Obamas, the new Clintons, the new power couple of the world. Well, look at where we are now. The Netflix deal, which was their golden ticket, their lifeline to the high life, is reportedly hanging by a thread. The show With Love, Meghan was supposed to be her big return, her moment to shine as the lifestyle guru she always wanted to be. It was supposed to be Martha Stewart meets refined royalty. Instead, industry insiders are calling it a snooze fest. The numbers aren't lying, and Netflix executives are not known for their patience. They want hits, they want viral moments, and they are not getting them. There are rumours swirling that their contract is being downgraded, slashed, or perhaps even quietly allowed to expire. That is a humiliation on a global scale. And it is not just the TV deals. Let's talk about the products. Remember the fanfare around her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard? The jams, the homeware, the authentic luxury goods? Well, where are they? Reports are coming in that warehouses are sitting full of unsold, unshipped, or simply unlaunched products. It is the ultimate embarrassment for someone who prides herself on being a tastemaker. Imagine the scene. Boxes upon boxes of Meghan-approved items collecting dust because the public just isn't buying what she is selling. Literally. They are giving it away to friends and influencers, and even then, the interest is lukewarm at best. It is a marketing nightmare. And when the money stops flowing, when the cash flow turns into a trickle, the finger-pointing begins. This is where the blame game gets ugly. Meghan, by all accounts from those who have worked with her, does not process failure as something she created. In her narrative, she is perfect. She is the star. So if the brand is failing, it must be someone else's fault. And who is the closest target? Harry. Sources close to the couple say she is absolutely tearing into him. She reportedly feels that he is not sharp enough for the cutthroat world of Hollywood business. She thought she was marrying a prince who could open any door, who commanded respect, who had the Midas touch. Instead, she is finding out that without the palace machinery behind him, without the royal highness status doing the heavy lifting, Harry is struggling to swim with the sharks. She is allegedly accusing him of being lazy, of not having the hustle, of not understanding how to monetize their fame effectively. Can you imagine the sting of that? Here is a man who gave up his country, his family, his military titles, his entire identity for her. He walked away from a birthright that millions of people would kill for just to make her happy. And now she turns around and tells him he isn't good enough because he can't sell enough jars of jam or get Netflix to greenlight a second season. It is cruel. It is a fundamental betrayal of the partnership they claim to have. She is reportedly telling friends that his name doesn't open doors anymore, that he is essentially dead weight. The novelty of Prince Harry in Hollywood has worn off. He is just another celebrity now, and frankly, a bit of a boring one to the power brokers in LA. They wanted the royal magic. They got a complaining man in a grey suit. And Meghan is furious about it. She feels she was sold a bill of goods, forgetting, of course, that she was the one who orchestrated the exit. And what about Harry? What is going through his mind while his wife is reportedly having a meltdown and blaming him for their shrinking bank account? The picture being painted of him is heartbreakingly pathetic. They are calling him the hollow man. Just let that sink in for a moment. Hollow, empty, a shell. He looks lost. We see the photos of him walking the dog or sitting at concerts, and the spark is gone. The cheeky, fun-loving prince we all watched grow up, the one who was always laughing, always causing a bit of trouble in the best way, the one who was the most popular royal for years, is gone. He has been replaced by a man who looks perpetually anxious, perpetually checking his phone, perpetually worried about upsetting the boss. The term henpecked keeps coming up in these reports, and it fits. He seems terrified to make a move without her approval. He has become a supporting actor in the Meghan show, and he doesn't even have any good lines. But beneath that submissive exterior, there is a deep, aching sadness. He is homesick. You can't just erase 35 years of being British. He misses the culture, he misses the banter, he misses the pub culture, the rugby, the simple ease of being with people who have known you since you were a boy. In Montecito, he has no old friends. His friends are her friends or people who want to be near fame. He is isolated. He is reportedly longing for a pint of warm beer and a conversation that isn't about brand strategy or optics or synergy. He wants to go home, but he burned the bridge, and he knows it. The isolation isn't just geographical, it is social. This is perhaps the most stinging blow to Meghan's ego, and another reason she is lashing out at Harry. They wanted to be the American royals. They wanted to sit at the table with the Clooneys, the Obamas, the Beyoncés. They wanted to be the power couple of the progressive elite. But look at what happened. The Obamas didn't invite them to the big birthday bash. That was the first sign. The Clooneys, who were at the wedding, are nowhere to be seen. The A-list has frozen them out. Why? Because Hollywood runs on discretion. Hollywood runs on trust. And Harry and Meghan have proven that they cannot keep a secret. They sold out his family for a Netflix check. They aired dirty laundry for a book deal. If you are a celebrity with secrets, and they all have secrets, are you going to invite Harry and Meghan to your private dinner party? Are you going to let them into your inner circle? Absolutely not. You are terrified that whatever you say will end up in Spare Part 2 or a CBS interview. They are radioactive. They are considered tacky and desperate by the very people they tried so hard to impress. And for Meghan, who craves validation from the elite more than anything, this social rejection is agonizing. She thought she was better than the Kardashians, but the Kardashians are invited to everything. Meghan is sitting at home. And she blames Harry. She blames his baggage. She blames his family drama. She refuses to see that it is their shared behavior, their shared indiscretion, that has made them social pariahs. So here we are, February 2026. The staff is gone. The money is drying up. The Hollywood friends never showed up. And the marriage is under immense strain. The phrase, the blame game, implies that there are two players, but it feels like a one-sided attack. Harry is taking the heat for everything going wrong, and he has nowhere to turn. He has no support system left, because they cut everyone off. He is trapped in that house with a woman who is watching her dreams crumble and needs someone to punish for it. The question everyone is asking, from the tabloids to the royal experts, is simple. How much longer can this go on? We are seeing reports of them living separate lives under the same roof, sleeping in different rooms, leading separate daily routines. It is the classic precursor to a split. They are essentially business partners in a failing business, bound together by contracts and a fear of admitting they were wrong. But the love? The romance? That seems to have evaporated the moment the cameras stopped rolling. The hand-holding looks forced now. The smiles look strained. It's a performance, and the reviews are terrible. Is this the end of the fairy tale? Or is it just the dark, gritty reboot that nobody asked for? The rumour mill suggests that 2026 might be the year the facade finally shatters completely. Divorce lawyers in California are probably keeping their phones on loud, because when a narcissist faces failure, the explosion is inevitable, and Harry is standing right in the blast zone. He gave up everything for a quiet life that is anything but quiet. He gave up his dignity for a woman who is now reportedly calling him a failure. We are watching a slow-motion car crash. It is tragic, yes, but it is also a lesson in hubris. You cannot build a life on grievance and expect to be happy. You cannot build a fortune on trashing your family and expect to be respected. The chickens are coming home to roost in Montecito, and the coop is empty. Think about the irony of it all. Harry wanted to escape the goldfish bowl of the royal family. He said he wanted privacy. He said he wanted to protect his family. And now he is living in a town where privacy is a commodity, married to a woman who invites the cameras in, and he is more exposed than ever. He traded a cage of gold for a cage of debt and public ridicule. And the woman who holds the key to the cage is the one who put him there. If the reports about the separate bedrooms are true, it signifies the emotional end, even if the legal end hasn't happened yet. Couples who are in love, who are fighting the world together, do not sleep apart. They cling to each other. But Harry and Meghan are drifting apart, pushed away by the very ambition that brought them together. She wanted the fame. He wanted the peace. Those two things were never compatible in the long run. And now that the fame is turning sour and the peace is non-existent, what is left? Nothing but resentment. And let's not forget the children. We rarely see them, which is their choice. But you have to wonder what kind of environment they are growing up in. A house filled with tension, with staff leaving, with parents who are reportedly at each other's throats. It is not the idyllic childhood Harry said he wanted to give them. It is a repeat of the trauma he claims he wanted to avoid. He is repeating the cycle, not breaking it. And that is the saddest part of all. As we wrap up this two-part special, I want to leave you with a question. Do you think they can come back from this? Can they salvage the brand, the money, and the marriage? Or are we witnessing the final act of the Sussex show? My gut tells me that once the money runs out, the love runs out. And looking at the state of their business deals, the clock is ticking. Thank you so much for tuning in. This story is developing by the hour, and you know I will keep you updated on every single twist and turn. Make sure you are subscribed, because if the split happens, and many think it is a matter of when, not if, you will hear it here first. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your tea hot.